Hello, and welcome back to Visiting Dugout. I am Crystal O'Keefe. Today I have a new guest on, Aaron Kirby, to talk about the Padres. So, hello and welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, yeah, what's new with Padres?
Padres they're a funny team this year because by all metrics they shouldn't be as good as they've been comparative to the last couple years that they've had, but they all but have the wild card spot locked up. They're playing the Mets right now or a little bit later. They lost, and the Mets are 4 games back from them, but the Padres are right at that 2 seed for the wild card. So really, barring a major collapse, which they're playing about 500 ball this last 30 days or so. So I don't think that's happening. They could miss the playoffs, but it seems like they're going to be playoff bound again, which is great because I love the way that this team was built. I love the attitude of the ownership, and I love that they're still sticking around with all the guys that I love on that team too.
Good players, and the Mets have been kind of on this weird
Yeah,
trajectory lately. I say this as someone who loves the Mets as well. It's been painful to watch lately. So, your chances of passing the Mets are great for that wild card spot. They're embarrassing right now.
yeah, I'm more worried about the Mets losing it because they're in third right now, and the Diamondbacks and the Reds are kind of hot on their tail, and even the Giants have really surged in this last month. So it does seem, I know the Cubs actually locked it up earlier today, so it seems like the Padres will lock it up, and then that third wild card, if the Padres can take these two, and I think the Mets are like 1-9 or 2-8 in their last 10, it's been rough for them. It'll be interesting to see how the wild card really shapes up.
So let's go back really quick to the trade deadline. Do you feel like anything adequate was done? Was there much that the Padres really needed to even address?
Yes, they kind of knocked the trade deadline out of the park. Ramon Laureano and Freddie Fermin have been huge. The Padres have had a gap at catcher for what feels like the entirety of my fandom. Uh, they've they really have tried everything, and Elias Diaz really wasn't doing it. He was a negative WAR player, and Fermin has just been fantastic for him. Ramon Laureano has been killer for him, and I know that they made that trade for Ryan O'Hearn, but he's kind of leveled out to the player everyone thought he was before his hot first half. So Laureano has been great because Jackson Merrill has been in and out of the lineup all year. With that said, he has been crushing it in September, which is great because it looks like he's finally healthy. But between Laureano and O'Hearn, especially for me, it's been a really, really good trade deadline. Of course, they added Mason Miller too. That's what's fun when you have AJ Preller as your GM because he is as addicted to trades as Jerry Dipoto is. They're constantly trading, he's constantly upgrading, and they're doing it well within the payroll that they really set themselves. They're in a weird ownership kind of situation between there's a family feuding over it. I think a brother and then a widowed wife is really fighting over the team right now. But they're a fun team, and the biggest issue that they had was the bottom half of their lineup just kind of fell off a table. They had Jason Hayward, they had Connor Wong, they had a lot of guys trying to fill out that outfield. So Luriano has been a godsend because one, he's great defensively, but he has been, I think, close to 850 OPS since he's come over. He's been fantastic for him.
Kind of forgot that Jason Hayward still played baseball in this
Yeah,
year, 2025. I
yeah,
feel like old.
yeah. He might be at the end of his rope based upon how he did, but that was a fun reclamation project for the Dodgers, which they just seem to do, and the Padres don't seem to do.
Right, right. Which is annoying because I would much rather the Padres do better. I
Yeah,
really,
and there's
really
still a chance at the division. They're only 2 games out. They don't play the Dodgers, but the Dodgers bullpen has been poor, so we'll see. And the Padres, of course, have an unbelievable bullpen, even with the loss of Jason Adams to that pretty gross leg injury had about a week and a half ago.
I've been watching it kind of all year. I'm just waiting for that moment where the Dodgers do slip down. And it's one of those like you don't want to pray for someone's downfall, but you kind of want to pray for their downfall. That's
Yeah,
where I'm at with the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's funny. I should dislike the Dodgers more than I do, just because I I can be okay with any ownership going for it. So there's not enough ownerships going for it in baseball. So I respect that about the Dodgers. The Padres and Dodgers, in my opinion, is the best rivalry in the game right now. It's so fun. It means so much to the city of San Diego, mainly because they've
Mhm.
been the little brother pretty much during this rivalry until they knocked him out of the playoffs a couple years ago. So it'll be really fun if they can tie it up in the postseason once again.
So, speaking of this postseason, you mentioned earlier you're right there. That wild card is really just kind of yours, like you can taste it. How do you feel about kind of the odds going into the postseason and how the Padres are going to do?
I am a little worried because their pitching has been so hit or miss this year. We're in one of the Dylan Cease average years. We're
Hmm.
not getting the off year where he's somewhere voted in the Cy Young. I think 4 years ago he was second, and then last year he was fourth, I believe, or
Yeah.
maybe a little lower. The big key is going to be Michael King, who is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated pitchers, one of the best underrated aces in baseball, but he has just been injured all year long. They finally got him back, and yesterday he got touched up very poorly by the Mets. But his start before was good, so really it's about getting his strength, and I think he's only going to make maybe two more starts. You guys won't be part of that. I think you guys are going to just miss him on the probables. I think he's going to pitch the day after they. I think are they in Chicago? They are in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Michael King is really the key to it. You, Darvish, I trust in the postseason for some reason, just mainly because I'm biased and I think he's one of the coolest pitchers we've had during my adult life. I'm a big fan of him. But Randy Vasquez has really stepped up. JP Sears has really been the only notable failure, I would say, since the trade deadline. Not like he came in with a lot of regard, but he was hopefully going to shore up the end of that rotation, and he largely hasn't, which has been rough. But with the strength of their bullpen in a short series, it could be anyone's game when it comes to the San Diego Padres. Jason Adam going down does hurt, but Adrian Morejon, you have Suarez, you have Mason Miller. It's a pretty great back end of the rotation. And shout out to my boy Yuki Matsui, who I will one day, I think just on sheer love alone, make him into an all-star caliber reliever because I just like watching him pitch.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we will chat about what this series might just look like.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you for listening to that advertisement. I hope you bought whatever we were selling you. So let's get back into this series. We've got our probable pitchers so far. We will see old friend Dylan Cease face Davis Martin. We will see Yu Darvish face Yanders Gomez. Not quite sure who that third game will be for the Padres, but you'll see Sean Burke. Um,
If I had to guess based on what I was looking at, I think it's going to be Randy Vasquez because Pavetta is going now. Oh, just shout out to Nick Pavetta, who for some reason we can pull a top five Cy Young pitcher every year from really nowhere. It could
yeah,
have
how
been
did
Musgrove. It could be Darvish. I mean, it was Blake Snell. Michael King could do it, but this year it's Pavetta's turn, so he's really been our ace all year.
yeah, I can't say anything bad about him ever. I love Pavetta. Um, so yeah, you mentioned Dylan Cease is in his down year. We are very familiar with Dylan Cease down years.
Yeah.
Um, he frustrated the hell out of me, and then I also loved him to death. It was a very weird time when he left to go to the Padres for me. But also, U's ERA is very elevated. It's almost at a 6 at this point. So, what's going on there, and what do you think we might see with at least those two in this series?
Well, I'd like to think that he could handle the White Sox bullpen, but he hasn't been able to or excuse me, lineup, but he hasn't really been able to handle lesser lineups throughout the year. I mean, his most recent game was against the Rockies, who I do not think touch you guys in terms of offensive power. I'm very scared of what Colson is going to do. just because that kid is how I just got it on a scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you about him?
Oh, I mean, the youth core in general, I'm very excited about. Colson, I'm convinced just hits home runs when he's up, which is,
It's amazing, and he hit some. What's he at? Like 17 or 18 already?
I think he's at 18 now. I was just talking, my husband has somewhat checked out of baseball because the White Sox are so bad, and he's just taken advantage of like the fair weather fan. But unfortunately, he married someone who has to like live and breathe White Sox baseball. So he kind of gets these little updates from me, and we were just very recently talking about Colson, and I sent him kind of just his stats for this year, and I was like, he's funny because he either strikes out and sucks or he hits a home run. And those are the only options that you get when he's at bat. And he was like, I have never seen someone with numbers this weird, and I love it. So yeah, Colson so excited. Kyle Teal, so excited. Like, there's
Feels
some
awesome.
really good young players on this team. So I can't wait for like 2027 when we're going to be contenders and there's a lockout.
Yeah, that's going to line up really nicely for you.
It's going to be great.
How is Drew Thorpe? Is he? Can you remind me? He's not in your guys' he's hurt, correct?
He's hurt. He will be back next season.
Okay,
And
good.
it's funny that you brought him up because I like to compare him to Dylan Cease in the good year.
He's got awesome stuff.
He does. He reminded me a lot of Cease. I think he's going to be great. I'm excited that he'll be back next year because it's it started off great with these young pitchers and then it kind of just you could tell by August that yeah, they're young pitchers and they do not have the arm strength to go like our seasoned veterans or veterans that the other teams have, which has been interesting to kind of watch that decline. So I'm happy that he'll be back next season.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was a fun chip. I know. I believe that was the Cease trade that you guys got him.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So he should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Cease can right the ship. I mean, there's going to be a lot going into the postseason with Cease because he is going to need to pitch in a short series for the Padres. So maybe going down to the south side might help him, remind him a little bit, use that slider a little bit better, miss some bats. But you, Darvish, that's the biggest issue with you is he's not missing bats right now. Everything's getting hit. And I don't know if you can chalk it up to age because he is a little longer in the tooth, and they did sign him to about a 5 year extension. So he's going to be pitching until he's much longer in the tooth for the Padres. But when he's on, he's exciting. He just hasn't had that get right game since he got off the IL. So
Yeah, yeah. That sucks. That's we've had that issue right now with Martin Perez. Martin Perez injured his elbow. He didn't have to have Tommy John, thankfully, but he went down at the beginning of the season, and he was kind of the one I was most excited about at the beginning of the season because he's the only vet that we've got. And
yeah,
then he came back very recently, and I wondered if it was too rushed because he came back and he's just not right. He's been just getting shelled kind of consistently every outing, so that's not fun when you have someone with so much promise that just can't get it back.
yeah, it's rough. Those arm injuries, it's either they can get back right away, or it seems like it's like the full off season is needed, which can be a pain when you're counting on them.
Yeah, I think he needed that full off season. That's again why I'm so excited about Drew Thorpe because he's had plenty of time away and plenty of time to work on his arm again.
Yeah,
So
you guys got Shane Smith though.
we
Shane Smith
do.
has been like a lotto ticket. That's been awesome.
Shane has been great. He pitched very well yesterday. Wow, that was his last time. I get his girlfriend's TikToks on my For You page, and it's like, get ready with me to go see my boyfriend pitch. And at first I was like, who? Like, she's putting on a White Sox jersey. Who is this? And then I finally realized it, and I commented one day, and I was like, Shane did great today. She's like, oh, thanks for the support. And I was like, yes, this is my weird parasocial White Sox relationship, Shane Smith's girlfriend. No,
It's awesome.
he's great. So as far as players on this Padres team, who do you think could be the biggest threat right now to the White Sox?
I think it comes down to Jackson Merrill continuing to get right for the postseason. I mean, everybody knew when he blew onto the scene last year, and he had an awful summer. His season was really kind of he started off, got hurt, came back, didn't seem right, went back on the IL, came back, and now he seems to be the same old guy. So Jackson Merrill and that new outfield of him, Tatis, and Lariano are going to be huge. So it really comes down to that. And then Manny's just going to be Manny. He's kind of spitting in the face of these mega contracts because he is just about as steady as you can be. And I know he's one of the more unlikable guys to the masses, but this is his team. And I know he wants to bring a World Series to San Diego more than anybody. And I think Manny, Teti, their offense is kind of humming right now. Arise is fun. I know you guys are very familiar with him with his time in Minnesota, and he's the exact same guy he's always been. So he's a fun guy to watch. But really, it's just them getting in that offensive groove where it's been kind of rough the last like 3 or 4 games, but they were really humming at the beginning of September. So finding their stride in the offense. I think having Jackson Merrill back and slotting him in the lineup where you know he usually is, I think will be the biggest key for them.
What I love about the series are, half the players you just mentioned have this history with the White Sox. I mean, obviously we'll see Dylan Cease and that will be fun again, even though I don't think he loved the White Sox and I can't really blame him. But Tatis, very bitter,
Yeah, that's a rough one.
trade forever ago. And then the White Sox, I mean, as a fan, even I was convinced that we were getting Manny Machado. I don't know if you remember all of that or at least knew the Chicago side of it. But there were all of these rumors that he was coming to Chicago. His brother-in-law was on the team. They posted
Hmm.
pictures of these like White Sox baby booties for him. And we are like, he's coming, he's gonna be here, it's gonna be amazing. And I even my husband's birthday falls, kind of in the winter before, well, hot stove is on. And I made him a birthday cake that year that said like and Manny Moore. And it was like a White Sox themed cake because we were like, Machado is coming to Chicago. This is going to be so good. And then we all collectively had our hearts just broken because Jerry Reinsdorf can't do anything right. And we just were bamboozled. So this should be a really fun series because I think Chicago fans are a little bitter about all of these things happening.
Yeah, I remember that very clearly because I thought he was going to go to the White Sox, and I honestly thought he would have fit the White Sox like a glove, like the type of leader he is. And like I said, I know he gets a lot of hate, but seeing what he's done in San Diego, I think he could have done that with any young ball club. And I really think he actually fits the mentality of, the South Side. I think he's a hard nosed guy, plays hard, sometimes to his own detriment, but he's a great leader, and it would
Yeah.
have been fun having him on the White Sox, and it would have been fun seeing you guys pay somebody. I think the fact that you guys weren't able to get him kind of, I wouldn't say set you back, but it's just kind of like a tone setter. And who knows how different those teams would have been with so much promise if Manny was there.
Yeah. I love to just remind myself that Andrew Benintendi was the highest contract that they've signed. And that
Yeah,
was,
that's pretty nuts.
yeah, it's painful. So keys for the Padres to win, and I know that this is the White Sox and it should be easy, but I still like to ask this question anyway.
I think it's going to come down to starting pitching for them with the Padres. You know what you have in their bullpen first and foremost. It's one of the best bullpens, even with Jason Adam going down. But their hitting's going to be there. I hope. Fingers crossed. And it's really starting pitching. The starting pitching is their biggest question mark. If they can get you Darvish, maybe not even to be as effective, but if he can get into the sixth or seventh inning and just show that he has that length prior to the postseason and build up that arm, that'll be huge. And then we'd love to see Dylan Cease. Maybe some of that Chicago home cooking can help out a little bit and get him back on track for a nice run. Because if I remember correctly, he's also playing for a contract this off season, I believe. So a good end of the year would help him maybe add a couple more zeros to that contract, because right now it's tough going. I feel bad for any player who has a down year going into off season talk.
Yeah, especially when he is so hot or cold, because next year he'll be great. And if
Yeah,
he's if
yeah, he
he's
will.
not if he's not on your team, it's gonna really suck for you. I get it. So on the opposite end of that, what kind of fears do you have heading into the series? And I mean, it could just be, again, you mentioned pitching is kind of vital. What fears do you have? Like pitching just implodes and the White
Yeah.
Sox are suddenly good again.
Yeah, well, the White Sox I put them in my feisty and my frisky area because they're a fun team and they can get on you if you're not on it. And for me, the biggest fear is you, Darvish, and Cease just imploding, getting shelled, because that's gonna, even though we kind of have the wild card wrapped up, we still don't know what we have in Michael King. So it's like, who are we going to lean on when the postseason comes, especially in a wild card series of 3 games? It's going to be really, really tough. And honestly, my fear of injuries is the biggest thing. Tatis has been largely unhurt this year, which is nice. I love Fernando Tatis, but he hasn't slugged 500 since the PEDs. He has been able to add a ton of value because he plays an amazing outfield after playing such an abysmal shortstop. So that's really kind of bridged the gap when it comes to like your overall metrics like WAR. So Tatis staying healthy, that's really it. is health and our starting pitching just being able to show that there's length, show that there doesn't even have to be shutdown stuff. Give me a quality start here or there. Give me some 6 innings complete type of thing.
Yeah, I always felt like Tatis was made of glass, which was kind of why I was okay after he was traded, but it's been brutal. Like he's one of those where I wish so badly that he would stay healthy, but now he just, especially after the whole steroid stuff, he's just
Yeah.
feels like an enemy to a lot of those people, and he was so injury prone that it made it frustrating to watch him.
Yeah, the Padres have a good mix of guys that you love if they're on your team, but from the outside looking in, just kind of a very easy to hate team too, which I think they feed on. I think they
Yeah.
really like it. Machado's dealt with it his whole career, and it's almost like he just gave it to Tatis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with Tatis's own help of giving it to himself with the motorcycles and the PEDs and everything.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the Twins. The Twins have so many players that I love, but I hate them because they're on the Twins, and I just would like for them to be on my team so that I don't have to hate them so much.
I hear that.
So, moving away from the series before we wrap it up, this is just where I like to ask what you've noticed, hate, love, or any fun hot takes you have about this 2025 season. Since, I mean, it's almost over now, but there's still time.
Yeah, there's one thing I just noticed the other day that I found very interesting was it looks like that we're in line to have repeat winners in the AL Cy Young, the AL MVP, and the NL MVP, which I think is very interesting. I'm also, firstly, a Seattle Mariners fan. I grew up in Seattle, so they have my heart. I fell in love with the Padres. I lived there when COVID hit. And so that was, as for everybody, a weird time. And the Padres during the spring training where they had to do it at their own field. I worked not far. So as you know, they have that green grass area that's open to the public. So on my lunch breaks, I would just go and watch them do their spring training. And that's kind of how I really sunk into the Padres. And going back to the Mariners and the AL MVP, I am a big proponent of the MVP should be a narrative award. Like it should be. I'm a huge Raleigh fan. Everything about him I love. And I would love to see him get 60. He hit 2 last night, which I screamed and then had my 2 little daughters wonder why I was yelling so loud 2 times. But one of them loves Cal because we watched the home run derby together. So the chase for 60 for Cal is huge for me. I don't think there's really anything he can do to win MVP, but my Seattle homerism will make me think that he should get a look. If he gets 60 and the Mariners win the AL West for the first time since 2001, since I was what 13 years old. Yeah, 13 years old, and I'm 37 now. I think that'd be worth, but it's just Aaron Judge is just so ungodly good.
I know.
It's for as good as Cal is. I think Aaron Judge's OPS is a full like 10th better. Like it's wild to see what he's doing. But Shohei's going to be Shohei, and then you have Tarek Skubal who's going to repeat. I find it very interesting to see just the dominance in the top players that we have in the league right now. And then overall, it really comes down to the American League wild card. It's what I'm very excited about because with the Mariners, Rangers, and Astros, there's a chance that whoever doesn't win that division could be on the outs with how the wild card is getting in the American League. So that's going to be fun too.
I feel like Cal is often because I think Aaron Judge is actually a robot. I don't think he is a human being. That's my like tinfoil hat. I
I
think
can sign
Cal
on
is
to
just
that.
if Aaron Judge was human, you would get Cal, which I love. I mean, I can't hate Aaron Judge because he is so good, but he's definitely a robot, and I hate the Yankees. So Cal is just the human teddy bear version of it, and I love that. I was so
Yeah.
excited when I went to a Mariners game last year, I think it was. It was Cal Raleigh Funko Night. So I have his
Oh,
beautiful
nice. There you
Funko
go.
Pop, my prized possession. One of many of my weird collector's prized possessions is the Cal Funko.
Yeah, they've
So
really gone in deep into the Funko. Funko's from the Seattle area, so they've
mhm.
just completely moved away from bobbleheads, which is great because I mean, I've had bobbleheads, a couple of them from giveaways, and they've all broken. And I'm not like playing with them like they're action figures. Like they just sit and then
Yeah,
somehow they just fall apart one day. I just don't understand the physics of it. But
yeah,
do you
no,
have the Funko Pop?
I do. Hold on.
Can I see it?
Yeah, hold on. My one little thing. This is the beautiful Funko.
God, look at him. He's gorgeous.
I know. Love him. He sits next to Johnny Bench Funko Pop, which is also great.
There
But
you
yeah,
go.
now that I think about it, I was looking over and like half of mine are also broken. I had this really neat Chris Bryant Rockies Jedi, like a purple lightsaber. And the
That's
lightsaber
fun.
broke within a week of having it. And I was really bummed out about that because I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So I had to have it. My cousin shipped it to me from Colorado. And then a week later, it's already broken. I was like, I didn't even touch this thing. I
It's
set it
unbelievable.
up on my dresser. That's all I did. But yeah, they do break. So I prefer the Funkos or at least the very small bobble heads that don't actually bobble because they don't break as easily. But yeah, yeah, I do. I love my Cal Big Dumper Funko. He's beautiful.
He's the best. And he's got the mustache now, which not a lot of people are talking about the mustache magic. I know that the Etsy witch is the big thing for the Mariners, which God bless those Etsy witches. They've really helped us out for a 10-game win streak. But I think a lot of it is going under the radar about Cal's new mustache. He dropped the goatee and he's looking good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the Etsy witches and if you were a believer of that because it's pretty wild, pretty interesting timing that they would go on and win that many games.
It's been a big couple weeks for Etsy witches in the news.
It has. In order to not lose my real job, I won't comment on the other Etsy witches. But yeah, I mean, make that bank, girlies and boys, I guess. Boys can be witches. Get
I
that clear.
believe in pagan more than I've ever have at this point with what they've done. And we need the Mariners need a little bit. They need something to push them over this hump. They've been right there for so many years, and this is the year that they finally have really gone for it with the addition of Naylor. And Gino is 0 for 32, but his vibes are off the chart, so he could turn that around anytime.
He's just
So
perfect.
I'm very thankful for the Witches.
Yeah, and Seattle's kind of it's fun. It's kind of a witchy city. It had like a lot of mystic, fun vibes when I was there, which I enjoyed very much.
Yeah,
So
it's a
good
fun
for
town.
them. Yeah. Well, that's what I've got for you. So thank you so much for joining.
Awesome.
Please just let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky under what is my name on Blue Sky? It is Kirby Diem, like Carpe Diem, but my last name Kirby. You can find me there. I do not touch Twitter, and I advise anyone who uses it to also not touch Twitter.
Yeah, Southside Sox as a whole left Twitter. I only go on there really to farm guests for this show if I need to, because some people
Yeah,
have not left it, unfortunately. But yeah, we tend to stay away from that. That's the bad
yeah,
place these days.
yeah. Blue Sky seems to have gotten stronger in the last year, so I'm hoping more people join.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Best of luck in this series.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Hmm